Chapter 2. I continued my frenzied pace for 3 days, following the clouds as they raced north. It kept me hidden from the human population below, refusing to eat the land to eat. Instead, I caught my kills and ate while I was flying, dropping the bones as I finished with them. I didn't even stop to sleep. When I felt tired, I floated to a stream of air and let the draft carry me the way I wished until I had regained enough strength to fly for a little while more, unassisted. I first saw signs of snow on the third morning, a white mountain top on the horizon, many leagues ahead of me. It wasn't until almost nightfall that day that I officially entered the northern snows, a vast expanse of snow year-round that carried for many days of lights in every direction. The snow was a perfect place to hide a dragon my size, and I scanned for a spot that would be easy to carve out a suitable den. I touched down on a patch of loose snow just as the sun was taking its light from the world, and I began to dig a small den, 15 feet down and 15 feet in diameter. When I finished, I jumped in, landing in the center. Then I crouched and used my wings as a vacuum to pull the snow back over my draconian body, and I slept. Finally. I kept half of my brain shut down for sleep, and the other half alert for any change in my surroundings, much like a wolf does. The next morning, I awoke. I stood up and stretched, awakening my muscles and aching limbs from the insufficient slumber. I followed my wings, wincing as the overexercised muscles screamed in pain, and brought the snow down on my top of me, my poking my head above the surface, thereby breaking the air bubble that had been keeping the snow from crashing down on me. My head uncovered, I scanned the skies for Derek. There was no sign of him, and I jumped out of my den. I flew into the air and flew north into deeper snows. All day, I searched the ground and hills for any place safe to meet Derek in. I passed many caves, but none were big enough to hold 2 dragons, so I continued my northern trek. After a total of 9 days, I finally found a good-sized cave that was above the clouds, therefore out of range for humans. I landed and hunkered down as night approached. Now I just have to count down the sunrises. Once I reach from 0 to 21, I'll go and look for Hudser. I thought as I circled my bed. I wonder what he'll be like. Will he be kind and patient, or mean and quick-tempered? He must be a good fighter, because he trained Derek, and Derek said he was the best in his pod. What's a pod? I know a flock is a group of draconians, so is a pod like a human graduating class? I'll have to ask Derek or Hudson. I pondered many things. Breathe. I pondered many things while the sun set. A lot of my race was unknown to me. In fact, almost everything. What is our history? If draconians aren't killable, why are there none around? Shouldn't there be many flux? And why did Derek call me the future of what kind? Are we the last? Are the rest of the species perished? If so, how? I'll watch the horizon all day, first 2 days, never defacing, waiting for Derek. To that day, I was forced to hunt. I kept nearby, picking up some individuals from the local mountain goat herd In fact, that's how things went for the next 3 weeks. I'll be in my cave for 2 days, and hunting the dirt. Every night, while I was asleep, I would have half of my brain that was active at night, also for Derek's mental call. Slowly, 21 sunsets came and went, and it was now time to search out for Hutzer. So, might I have you hot? I departed my cave on the 22nd sunrise, and searched the skies and snows for any signs of life. I flew through the northern Great Waters and turned east until I reached the eastern Great Waters, and had to turn back and land and fly west again. It took a while, but I did eventually reach the western Great Waters. I scanned the shores twice in both directions and found a small hut hidden in the icy hills. I was about to fly over to further investigate, but someone yelled, "Who are you?" I spun around in midair, and a snarling gold dragon was right behind me. His teeth were parted to show a glowing throat, and his eyes were murderous. I'm sorry, sir. I was just seeking a friend. I'm terribly sorry to have invaded on your territory, I whimpered, shaking affright. Enough, child, he growled, snapping his jaws to further accentuate his command. I shut up, pulling my head low and towards my body and flattening my ears. Who do you seek? His name is Hutzer. He taught my mentor. I know a Hutzer. Why in my territory? He's a friend of yours. Don't you know where his territory lies? No, sir. My mentor told me to go to the northern source and search for Hutzer. He told me exactly where to go. I've been searching for 2 months. Then, you have no idea where you are? No, sir. None. Follow me, he said, his jaws covering his teeth. The glow died, his ears pricking up. The snarl died, and most of the murder left his eye. Like, is it eyes or eye? But not all of it. Thank you, sir. He grunted, but remained silent, pulling ahead of me and leading me. I didn't say a word as I relinquished the leading role. He led me southeast for 3 days. By the dawn of the 4th, we had reached a small den. Judging by the size of it, it must have been a bear's den at one point. The gold dragon, whose name he refused to tell me, landed handy-faced into a gorgeous male of about my age. I felt my jaws slam open and my eyes grow large in shock. Not only was he the hottest guy I've ever seen, but I also recognized the butt mark on the back of his right leg. A dragon circling in on itself as if it devoured its tail. I had the same one on the inside of my left thigh. I watched as he made his way to the mouth of the den and paused after knocking at the door. Hutzer, it's Dimitri. There's a young one with a request for something. She stumbled on my territory while looking for you. Is that so? Well, thank you for bringing her all the way here. Dimitri walked back towards me while another man, Hutzer, exited the den. Hutzer looked the same age as Dimitri, but his hair was grey and his eyes were haunted, and he walked with a slight limp. How may I help you, child? He asked as he approached me. I defaced and replied, ignoring Dimitri's gaping mouth and staring eyes. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Hutzer. I'm afraid I have some bad news. Oh? Yes, sir. It involves Derek. Derek? What has the boy done now? Muttered to himself, pinching the bridge of his nose and between his index finger and thumb. Well, in any case, come in, he said, gesturing for me to follow him. To human eyes, Hudson was a fine piece of flesh, but during a brief time together, Derek had told me that Hudson is almost 1,000 years old, despite his 18-year-old appearance. Because of that information, my mind never even considered Hudson for potential beau. I've had enough of those. Thank you very much. I followed Hudson inside and found a small, cozy living space. There was a rug, a couple of chairs, and a bed in the corner. Have a seat, miss. Thank you, sir. I said, walking over to one of the chairs and pulled it closer to the fire. Please, I insist on hot, sir, he said, putting a teapot on a metal table over the flames. Very well. I'm Samantha, I replied, sticking my hands closer to the inferno. Samantha? Very nice. Now, tell me about you, Derek. Has he gotten himself into trouble again? Hudson asked, sitting in a chair beside me. I heard, rather than saw, Dimitri stand in a doorway, but I told the story anyway. He was quiet for a minute after I finished. Then Hudson spoke up. His voice quiet. A very sad tale indeed, Samantha. What I don't understand is why he would send you to me if you weren't his apprentice. Technically, you didn't have to follow his instructions, since he wasn't your mentor. He was my mentor. He had agreed to take me on, to teach me all he knew. I was finished before he battled the Sila. Custer nodded, and was silent. Very well, I'll teach you, but only until Derek comes back. He won't come back. He's dead. I stated, my voice badly cracking as I remembered his brave sacrifice. Knowing Derek, if he feels he has to protect someone, nothing will keep him from you for long. Well, except for healing. That may take a while. But he'll come back eventually. Hearing this, my heart did a flip in hope, but I forced it back, telling it that it was impossible for the dead to come back to life under any second desire or circumstance. Derek was dead and never coming back to make me feel safe and give me the strange sensation of home. So, how did you grow up, Samantha? Dimitri asked, moving away from the door frame. I grew up among humans. Every day of my life was dripping rejection. My parents didn't want me, my playmates refused to play with me when I was a child, and all of my boys were scared stiff. I learned not to get attached too much. The one time I broke that rule, he proved to be just like the others. Here's Derek who opened my eyes to a new way of life. Then I'm sure you have questions, Arthur observed, taking the whistling pot off the stove and pouring the boiling water into 3 cups, which he handed to Dimitri and myself. I accepted it and took a sip before answering. Several, sir. What's a pot? A pot? A pod is similar to a human graduating class. A group of hatchlings are born in one day and then start training on the same day as the others of that group, at about a year old. As such, they also graduate on the same day, their 100th birthday. Very rarely, a novice will be moved to another pod to give him time to either mature or assure his mentor he is ready to graduate. Wow. Sorry. Dimitri explained. Wow. Sounds complicated. It isn't. Not really. It really isn't that complicated. Anyway. Anything else? Hudson asked, taking a blanket and wrapping it around my shoulders. He and Dimitri answered all my questions, including the draconian history, very well, but usually brought on more questions. Normally this would have irritated anyone else, but these two didn't seem the slightest disturbed by my endless questioning. As it turns out, draconians have been around since before our famous medieval era, the time during which we made our dragon forms known to the humans. We actually started close behind the humans known as Adam and Eve. Only 100 years or so separated us. He also told me why my dragon half was so scared by the silo. Apparently, it is a great rival. Our only enemy. It is the only being capable of hurting us, and it is very difficult to kill. It can deal great body damage, often killing in one blow. Why it's so impossible to kill one of the dragon? One of them is because Scylla are 10 times bigger than any dragon. Draconians were supposedly born of the sun, but the Scylla was born of the moon. Naturally, we are rivals true and true. We are active during the day when the sun is out, and the Scylla is active during the night, when the moon dominates the sky. It is slow and weak during the day, a prime target for a group of draconians. However, once the sun sinks, the role of prey is reversed. This explained why I always had more energy than normal people during the day, and why I always felt so edgy at night. Hatsuru and Dimitri spent all day answering my questions. Before I knew it, it was time to sleep. We bickered for 15 minutes about who would claim the bet. But Hatsuru won. I would take the bet until he could build one for me, Hatsuru by the fire, and Dimitri outside in his dragon form. And that will be all for today. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this video, reading along with me, and listening, despite the noise in the background, of which I try to suppress. Regardless, I hope you have a nice day.